Welcome to today's episode. Today we are going into November 2020, and November is always a big month for me because it's my birthday, and I'm not going to be like one of those princesses like, it's my birthday month, like you've got to celebrate me for this whole time. But internally, I am really awake, I would say, in that month, because it's really about, for me, going, okay, I'm coming up to the end of the year, but also, where am I? What do I want this age to be? What's going on, etc. And I'm pleased to say it was my best month yet in business. And there was a real energy in that month where I just kind of knocked my socks off. And this is a really interesting moment for me. When I have successes like that, I have to notice where I'm capping myself. And I decided in that month to bring on, I guess, all the successes. So even though it could have been like, I would have said, oh no, that's enough now. Oh gosh, no, that's gone too well. There can't possibly be anything else. I decided to open myself up and think, what if there was something else? Let's see what else we can bring. And I think certainly we are brought up, we are conditioned by society to think that we have a cap on our success. And it was a really interesting month to play around with. I also learned in that month that even though everything came to fruition throughout it, it was based on so many of the things that I had done previously. So lean into all your successes. So I had a few meetings, I had opportunities, I did some filming, I did all kinds of things in that month. But it was because I had been building up until this moment. So the temptation sometimes when these things come in is like, well, it hasn't happened before, so why would it happen now? And instead, I thought, well, I've had so many near misses. I almost got to X, Y, and Z. What if all of those steps have taken me to this moment, this perfect moment where I unlock the next door? And I really celebrated in that month. I really took some time to go, wow, go on. Yeah, you can do that. I also did a lot of work around my self-worth. And I'm saying that very sort of, yes, I just worked on my self-worth. But I think it's one of those moments when you're elevating, when you're going to the next level, you have to take care of yourself in that and almost be really gentle with yourself, like you have an adult version of you looking in and saying, you're doing really well, just keep doing it, and being really nurturing towards that part of you that might go, what if it doesn't happen though? I'm a bit scared, I don't know what to do, etc. So in November, Matt bought me some brand new headphones for my birthday, and I had been faffing around with these same old headphones for years, and they didn't really work. Well, they did work, but you had to hold them a certain way, and then they just cut out, and then they would get really tangled, and I'd never be able to find them. And then I bought a new phone, and I didn't have the right attachment, so I had to buy this additional this is a really long, boring story, I'm sorry. I had to buy this additional attachment, and then when I would run too fast, that attachment would come away from the headphones. And it was just a pain because by that point I was running a lot and I was doing lots of things. And he clearly saw that and saw that sort of frustration. Anyway, he bought me these amazing brand new headphones and they were so good. And in that, I thought, right, well, I'm going to buy myself some new trainers now, and I'm going to start now because by that point I sort of knew what size I was going to be after having a baby. And I invested in some brand new sports stuff, and I started to feel good. I started to notice what those incremental upgrades did to the power of my performance, essentially. And then in December, Matt bought me a Fitbit for Christmas. And it was a really lovely moment to be able to see what was going on. And I noticed that power of the movement. Like the more that I moved, the more that I got out, even though it was a bit wind and rain sometimes, even though we haven't had a particularly great summer, sometimes you get some really lovely winter days where if you wrap up and if you add a jacket or something like that, you can really feel that benefit of getting yourself out there. And as I was moving into January, where I knew that I was really wanting to go into fifth gear in January 2020, I had to create that creative time for myself. And I've said it before on the podcast, I know that I process information by moving. And do you know what? Those incremental upgrades. So I guess the lesson in this for you is, what are the moves that you need to make in your business and your brand which could have a really huge effect? So this could be something reasonably quite small. Is it a booking system? Is it having somebody to work with you for 2 hours a week? Is it about batching all of your content and putting it into a content creating system? Is it making sure that you open a Google Drive and put everything that you need in there? What are those incremental upgrades? Because I tell you what, if you start to do those small things, they will build up over time, like the running, the Fitbit, the drinking more water, they actually doing it frequently, the trainers, the headphones. And what I was able to do at the end of January, even though we're not quite there yet, I was able to run my first half marathon. Well, I set that goal for 2021 and I did it in January. And I do believe that it was down to my kit, my equipment, and knowing what was going on really pushed me on to move more. The final month of this section is January 2021. And it was an unusual start to the year because we'd been in lockdown for Christmas and we'd been at home and not seen friends and family. And we also knew quite late on that the schools were going to close. And we didn't know for how long, but we thought it was going to be for quite some time. But again, I kept coming back to this sense of, I really don't want this to stop me. I really don't want another year to go by. And I knew that I'm 40 in November. And I just thought, come on, let's see what you can do. Let's play, let's be open. And I decided to be the version of myself, the person who does. And my word for the year was, and it still is, fly. And I wanted to be in a state where I fully trusted where I had got to and noticing all of the things that had been going brilliantly over the years. And I trusted that I had done so much already, so I was ready to go to that next level. But also, when I was thinking about flying, I really had to think about that sense of grounding. And there's a whole new podcast on this as well. You can find it. I'll link it in the show notes too. But I really had to notice what I needed to do in order to make this happen. So with everything, I know the temptation can be like, well, I've just said it now, or I put it out into the universe. But also give yourself that time and space to actually analyze what you need to do in order to make it happen. So this was not about eradicating everything and anything that I've ever known, but it was about being very conscious. It was about making decisions that were going to take me closer to where I wanted to get to and move away from the stuff that didn't light me up, and to really step into that person. So if I was having those down days, or if I was having those moments of insecurity or not knowing where to turn next, I really saw that spectrum of, what are the steps? How do I get closer? How do I actually take that action? Rather than just being in that place of like, I don't know, I'm tired. And sometimes when I'm talking about steps, it wasn't a triple jump moment into that version. Sometimes it was just a bit of a shuffle. Sometimes it was for the good of me, of thinking, right, if I really want to build this personal brand and really see where it goes, to get closer to that person who I know I want to be, that person needs a good sleep tonight. That person needs to get off her phone turn it onto airplane mode, put it in a different room, and go to sleep. So it's not always about doing more. It's about consciously shifting into that person. So I hope this has been useful for you. Do join us for Jam and Plan Live on August the 31st. I would love you to be there, and I will see you in the next episode. Also, do check out the links down below because there's loads of information in there. All right, lots of love.